For tonight's Power Panel, Fox News contributors Jessica Tarlov and Marc Thiessen, and White House correspondent for the Daily Caller, Sagar and Jetty. Welcome to all of you.
Good to be with you, Shannon.
Hey, Shannon.
Okay, so a very crowded field. So let's look at the top five, according to this recent CNN poll, about who is in the mix. Former Vice President Biden at the top with 33%. These are people asked, which Democrats would you support? Senator Bernie Sanders, Senator Kamala Harris, Senator Warren, Senator Booker. They're all in the mix. Marc, who do you think breaks out from the pack? And why are we already talking about this?
We don't even know the results of the midterms yet, for sure.
No, those aren't even settled.
Well, first of all, I mean, I thought we had a crowded field with 19 candidates in 2016 on the Republican side. I mean, we couldn't even fit them on one stage. How are they going to put 55 people on the stage? We're going to have 3 different debates before to different tiers. I mean, look, it's hard to say who's going to emerge from the pack. It really depends on what direction the Democratic Party chooses to take. They're facing a problem, which is that the Obama coalition is broken up. That the Obama-Trump Democrats have come over to the Republican side, and we saw that in the midterms where they came out in huge numbers for the president this time around. And Democrats won on the backs of upper middle class Republican districts that went over to them. So ironically, you've got the country club Republicans voting Democrat and the working class Democrats voting Republican. There are 700 counties that went twice for Barack Obama. Donald Trump got a third of them in the last election. There are like 7 to 9 million Obama-Trump Democrats who voted for him. If they can't figure out a way to get those people back, they're not going to win. So they need to find somebody who can bring those people back into their coalition and challenge Donald Trump for them.
Well, Jessica, some people think that would be Beto O'Rourke, a 3-term congressman who just lost his Senate race. Well, listen, he raised $70 million in this fight to try to unseat Ted Cruz. He is said to intoxicate the younger voters. When he was approached by hard news outlet TMZ Friday, they do break some news. He said, quote, "I haven't made any decisions about anything." What do you think, Jessica?
It's interesting. I wouldn't say he intoxicated me, but I certainly did enjoy watching some of his town hall rallies, and I thought he gave some of the more spirited defenses and emotional defenses of liberal policies that I think certainly a Texas audience should hear. And he came within 3 percentage points of Ted Cruz when you saw Greg Abbott carrying by 10+ points in a lot of these districts. So he's obviously exciting, love the energy there, but I think really, in contrast to what Marc was saying here, it's not so much about where the Democratic Party is going. It's where Joe Biden is going. So Joe Biden will spend the next few months deciding if he wants to run. There's obviously new reports that he regretted not running in 2016. If he decides to get in there, I think a lot of people are going to clear out. And as you saw that number, he's well ahead of Bernie Sanders, 20 points ahead of him as the next most serious challenger for the Democratic nomination. So I really think it hinges on Joe Biden. But yeah, 2018 midterm still going on. We're still picking up seats. I don't know how we're already in this 2020 mess. But
and to Biden, Beto is getting comparisons to Biden's former running mate, former president Barack Obama. From Politico, they say this: Bernie and Warren, now they have competition, referring to Beto, saying it completely changes the game if Beto runs, and he should. He's Barack Obama, but white. And that came from an unnamed Democratic bundler. Sagar?
Yeah, that's right. That article also had an interesting line noting that it hasn't been since Abraham Lincoln that we haven't had somebody who's ascended to the highest office in the land without ever being elected to something in the first place. And that's part of the thing that I think that the president is most watching. He's a congressman. Well, yeah, so I'm sorry about that. But he's
for something.
Been watching, he's been watching what's happening here. And I talked to the president just last week when he was looking at the 2020 field. And he thinks that it's a complete lightweight field going into 2020. And he's really not worried about them, particularly Joe Biden, as Jessica had mentioned.
Okay, I want to make sure that we get all of you to react tonight to this breaking news from the Washington Post. It says this new report says that first daughter and also presidential advisor Ivanka Trump, who's does official work on behalf of the administration, that she used her personal email to correspond about government issues. Austin Evers, who's the executive director of liberal watchdog group American Oversight, quoted in the Washington Post, says this: "There's the obvious hypocrisy that her father ran on the misuse of personal email as a central tenet of his campaign." Now, a spokesman for for Ivanka's attorney and ethics counsel, Abby Lowell, says, listen, this is very different than the situation with Mrs. Clinton. Says, Ms. Trump did not create a private server in her house or office. No classified information was ever included. The account was never transferred to Trump Organization and no emails were ever deleted. He's gone on to add also tonight, telling us, he says, listen, this was raised 14 months ago. She reviewed and verified her email use with White House counsel and explained the issue to congressional leaders. So, Mark, is this not new news? Is this much ado about nothing?
No, it's unforgivable. I mean, the fact is, look, it is very different from Hillary Clinton for the reasons that her lawyer stated, particularly the fact that there was no classified information involved on this. But I mean, was she not around for the 2016 campaign? Did she not? Was she not there when the Trump rallies people were saying lock her up, lock her up?
They still are.
You know, I mean, so it just to be, and her excuse was she wasn't briefed on, she didn't understand the rules. I mean, any American could have told you who was paying half attention to the 2016 election that we understand the rules are if you're in a high government position, you don't use your private emails.
And there's no allegation that she trafficked in any classified information.
No,
in
not
fact,
at all.
we're told what happened is in about 100 of these emails or less that somebody reached out to her from an official government position, reached out using her personal email, and she responded. So the vast majority of these were details of her work schedule or her travel that she shared with personal assistants and people who watched over her kids. But Jessica, is that going to get lost in the explanation for a lot of folks who see this headline?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Twitter is full of it, and the hypocrisy, obviously, of, you know, what the 2016 election was predicated on and then what she and her husband went and knowingly did. I am a bit surprised that they created this domain in December 2016, which is what the Washington Post reports here. This wasn't like they were using their old Gmail accounts. They actually proactively went and created this.
But not a private server.
I understand that, and it wasn't in a bathroom and whatever else, but we're not here to relitigate Hillary's email server. This was an avoidable mistake for sure, but I thought Nate Silver this evening raised a really good...
I need to get Sagar in here just for a quick final word.
Read Nate Silver's Twitter feed. Okay.
Is it, Sagar, unforced error by them?
Yeah, it absolutely is an unforced error. And if we had gone through the 2016 campaign and learned anything, it should be that you should use the utmost of caution whenever you're using emails in order to communicate for government business, regardless of whether that's classified or not. And I expect that Ivanka will be talking about this for several weeks to come, and it's going to aggravate the president quite a bit that this happened.
Yeah. Well, I just assume everyone's reading all my emails all the time anyway. Hello, NSA.
They probably are, yeah.
Okay, Mark, Jessica, and Sagar, thank you all.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.